And to other matters, politics now. The People's Democratic Party in Rivers State, they have won all 4 local government supplementary rerun elections in the state, with Abuodua, Opobonkoro, Gokana and Ahoda West declared and returned in favor of the party. The state governor, Nyesom Wike, describes the victory of his party as victory for all in the state. Our correspondent Emmanuel Ere has more.
Political structure in Rivers State may have taken shape according to the declaration of INEC. The governorship seats, the 3 seats in the Senate, the 13 seats in the Federal House of Representatives, and 30 out of the 32 seats in the State House of Assembly, all occupied by the ruling party.
My wooden canoe, which is the only source of livelihood for my family,
the governor-elect,
at the waterfront.
It is time to look up, as he believes the victory of his party at the polls did not come without some divine blessing, and pledges to work with all and not victimize anyone.
We must put hands together for the Rivers State to move forward. Nobody will be victimized. I stand on this altar to say that I've forgiven everybody who has done anything. I've forgiven everybody. And I also ask for forgiveness if I stepped on anybody's toes.
And with the main opposition party in the state unable to find a middle ground yet, maintaining 2 party offices on same Aba Road in the state capital. The senator representing Rivers Southeast and a former factional governorship candidate of the APC in the state seem to have moved on as he dances along.
I know that sometimes you fall so you can rise stronger. I know that sometimes you go through some of these things so that you are better prepared for the future.
Many believe Rivers State has had a lot of stopgaps following the crisis as a result of political differences. But now, this may just be the opportunity to bend across party lines and move the state forward. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
Slightly away from politics, at the mention of Odi, what usually comes to mind is the invasion of the town when some soldiers were killed in November 1999. But today, Odi is in the news again following a coastal erosion that has left over 8 houses completely swept away. Our next report, we take a look at how the community is coping with the erosion.
82-year-old Madame Doris Sito could not control her tears as they flowed. She watched helplessly as her lifetime investment is about to be destroyed by this coastal erosion that washed away a major landmass of Odi community and the houses of her neighbors, now a heap of rubble. This river has always been a blessing to the people of Odi community because from it they get water. But most importantly, this river is where they fish, as many of the indigents are fishermen. Today, the consistent penetration of this river is responsible for these cracks on Madame Doris's building. The cracks are proof that her house will soon collapse, like that of her neighbors, who are now homeless.
There is no one to help me. I have been sick. I went to Port Harcourt for treatment. That's where I was when I was called that houses had collapsed. Where will I go? I don't have anywhere to go to.
That evening, we dey here before we see this line. My friend Simon no sit down there again. We come cross to this other side. Before the morning, when I come outside, because I stay near the biotech. Before I come outside, I see say the place don't fall.
Even though her home is destroyed, Madame Tude is still here, looking at the remains of a place she once called home.
We get lucky say a person not die for inside. Now the thing happen no. So we dey beg on make on help us. Now all my load now outside that day.
The representative of Odi community in Bayelsa State House of Assembly, Honorable Tonye Isena, who came to sympathize with his people, speaks on the landmass.
Gradually, it has been, this erosion had been coming until we also left the community, and then eventually it has gotten to this point. And so I am also now joining to call on government. We have to call. The ecological funds need to be spent on this. And then we are calling on NDDC, our interventionist agency, to please swiftly come. If not, this road is going to go off.
It seems the worst is yet over. Daily, these cracks on the road are expanding and serve as indicators that erosion is not over and more houses may collapse before the end of the week.
Well, from there we go to Bauchi State. In the early 80s and 90s, used to be one of the states that could boast of 15 manufacturing outfits and plants. But today, many of those factories are moribund. Although the physical structure still exists, our correspondent Hajra Aliyu, who went around some of the factories, reports that no economic activity is going on in the plants, and that the ones functioning, she says, are running below production capacity. Take a listen.
Dead silence, dusty and packed machines, all evidence of non-operation in one of the first Nigerian assembly plants for commercial vehicles and trucks. Just like many others in Bauchi State, Steyr Nigeria Limited is moribund. This is another plant, the Bauchi Meat Processing Plant and Cannery. The barn is empty.
Some of the machines here have not been in use for over 20 years. They are covered by dust and even cobwebs. There are several calls on government to revive some of the industries in Bauchi State. This will boost the economy of the state and create jobs for many.
It used to be huge, and there was so much activity there. Every time we went there to pick some of the supplies, there was huge traffic of people, businesses booming around. So it was quite, wonderful, and I feel very nostalgic about it.
Before now, the meat factory employs about 500 staff, but today, only 50 are on its payroll. In the 80s, meat was exported to neighboring countries like Morocco. The factory can hardly meet the demands of its immediate environment.
These problems rally around capital, and that capital is needed to make sure we produce to optimum capacity and then to be able to replenish some one of machines that we use in the factory.
The state's internally generated revenue is estimated at 1.5 billion naira monthly, derived mainly from pay-as-you-earn task. Even though this is a boost in IGR from previous 800 million naira monthly, experts believe that reviving the industries will do more for the economy of the state.
Had it been that those industries that were established in the First Republic or in the Second Republic, were sustained in the states, I think more could have been developed, and those ones could have been bigger in the way they are, and they could have more significant impact.
For now, some of the industries like Zaki Flour Mills, Asbestos Factory, Bauchi Waste Recycling Plants, Steyr Nigeria Limited, Kobe Cola, Bauchi Furniture, to name but a few, only exist on the minds of many who knew them. But there is a lot to gain, not only by the government of Bauchi State, but by the people, if these industries come alive again. Hajra Aliyu, Channels Television News.
After years of violence over land disputes, peace may have finally returned to communities in Anambra State, and this is because of an administrative panel of inquiry which has brought warring parties together. This next report traces the history of the issues leading to the reconciliation meeting.
This place included the
For 2 years, the administrative panel of inquiry into the communal disturbances in 6 communities have been making efforts to see to the resolution of boundary disputes. The dispute over land ownership had become so fierce that it led to the loss of lives and the destruction of property. 3 policemen are also said to have been critically wounded in one of the attacks. So, after many peace meetings, there seems to finally be headway made into resolving the issues. The Administrative Panel of Inquiry into the communal disturbances is sitting at the conference hall of the Government House, Oka, and they are making sure of this.
We know that part of the problem facing this panel.
The chairman of the panel points out the challenges facing communal conflict resolution in Nigeria, which is the absence of survey maps that will aid in boundary demarcations.
We got stuck at a point. We had the Surveyor General of the Federation, he said there was none. The Surveyor General of the state said there was none. And when government realized that it was necessary for boundaries to be demarcated, particularly those boundaries which the communities were citing as the old boundaries determined by the colonial master along the Enugu-Onitsha way, government approved money for the Surveyor General to re-establish the boundary and mileposts along the line.
For the Deputy Governor, it is important for the communities to settle disputes outside the courts.
Courts don't bring peace. Court processes, I really believe, don't bring peace. If the two people don't agree, court will not resolve it. But I pray that you're spending time and the heat that you go through here will resolve into something positive.
The unveiling and presentation of the peace banner by the Deputy Governor is the highlight of the event. From this, hopes are high that the much-craved peace will return permanently to the communities.